Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you all had a great weekend. So I actually ventured out of my house on Saturday. I normally don't. I've kind of been living the quarantine life for the past year, but every once in a while there is something you have to do. And in this case, I had to pick up a prescription. So I went to CVS, and of course, I wasn't going to pass the beauty aisles without checking to see what was new. I really missed that. I used to be at the drugstore like multiple times a week. So yeah, online is just not the same. But I did see some new things from Joah, including these new little mini eyeshadow palettes. Also, they have this new Crystal Glow collection that looked really pretty. And I got a new BB cream that isn't even on their website yet. So very exciting stuff, especially because you guys know I love the Truly Yours Dark Circle Concealer from Joah. This one is holy grail for me, and everything is made in Korea. This is a K-beauty inspired brand, so they didn't start over in Korea, but they are owned by Kiss Makeup, which does like the nails and the lashes, I think, and maybe they have their own makeup. I'm not 100% sure, but Kiss is kind of like their parent company. So anyway, let's start out with the eyeshadow palettes. That's what I was definitely most excited about. There's 3 different color options that you can get, and I'm going to show you guys close-ups and swatches. I'm also going to do a demo of the lavender one, which I did yesterday. But first, I just want to talk about the packaging because I think this packaging is so nice. It's such a big upgrade from what they had before. I don't know if you guys remember their old eyeshadow palettes, which I think are being discontinued now because I didn't see them at CVS, but they came in like kind of flimsy cardboard packaging, and it had that little clear plastic window on the top that just, it was really cheap looking and it kind of felt cheap. And I wasn't crazy about the formula of those as well. So these new palettes come in really sleek plastic packaging, and they look so much like some of the K-beauty brands that you'd find on sites like YesStyle. I know Neogen makes one that looks very similar to this. Also, Chica y Chico makes one that looks pretty much identical, not necessarily the color story, but the packaging. And then also Coringo is another one. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but that's another one that I saw on the YesStyle website that I think basically has the same packaging. So definitely K-beauty inspired for sure, and the formula is as well. So if you're not familiar with K-beauty eyeshadows versus American style eyeshadows, they're always a lot more subtle. So if you like that really soft, kind of fuzzy, everyday look that's not super defined and crisp, they're not overly pigmented, and the shimmer shades aren't super metallic or foiled looking on the eyes. They're actually a lot more sheer and just more of a wash of color with a little bit of sparkle to them. So if that's something that you are interested in, then I think you're really gonna like this formula. But if you like those more intense, vibrant eyeshadows, then you probably are gonna wanna skip these for the most part. So let's go ahead now and take a close-up look at each palette, and I'll tell you some of my thoughts about each one. So the first one is Lavender Fields. This is the one when I showed these on Instagram that most of you were really excited about. It's a cooler tone palette. You have 2 actual matte shades, and then you have 3 shimmers. And then the deepest shade down in the bottom right-hand corner is not a flat matte. It's a little bit more of a satiny formula, and it has more of that buttery, rich feel to it. So the matte shades in this palette are very velvety, and they feel very similar to a lot of other K-beauty eyeshadows that I already have in my collection. And the shimmer shades in this one I didn't think were very buttery. They were a little bit more difficult to pick up. They kind of were harder pressed into the pan. So when I tried to pick them up with my finger, they definitely gave more of a sheer wash of color. But I just wanted to let you know, because I know a lot of you guys are really excited about this palette, but if you like a more intense shimmer shade, you're definitely not going to get it in here. I think the mattes are beautiful, but the shimmers are definitely on the subtle side. Next up is Nudist Colony. This is the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today. It has 2 traditional matte shades again, and then you have 3 shimmers, and also the one in the bottom right-hand corner is more of that satiny one again. Now, unlike the lavender palette, the shimmer shades in this one were very easy to pick up, super creamy and buttery. The only one that was a little different was the gold shade, and that one almost feels kind of like a putty texture or like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow. It's kind of different and unique in that way, and you don't pick up quite as much pigment as you do with the others. It's a little bit more sheer, but this one has more intense sparkle than any of the colors in the Lavender palette, so you can get a more intense look with this one. It's kind of like a really, really shimmery topper shade. So I actually really like this one. Again, I'm wearing it on my eyes, and I thought that the gold shade showed up really nicely. So that's Nudist Colony. And then the last one is called Amazonian, and this one has a really warm tone color story. You have the orange and the red and the copper and the gold shades. And this one actually has 3 traditional matte shades. You have the ivory, the red, and the orangey shade. And then the copper and the gold are shimmers. And then again, that deeper one in the right-hand corner is that satiny finish. And I thought that the shimmer shades in this palette were also pretty easy to pick up. They had a nice, rich, buttery feel. And I thought that the mattes were very consistent throughout all 3 palettes. They have a really velvety feeling to them. And it's very much in line with all of the K-Beauty palettes that I have just across the brands. They all seem to be very, very similar. And I really like them a lot. They have great adhesion to the skin. They don't just blend away. They're not overly powdery, but they're also not super pigmented to the point where you feel like they're really difficult to blend. They're nice and buildable, which I happen to love about K-Beauty eyeshadows. So I'll quickly show you a demo that I filmed yesterday using the Lavender palette, and you can see kind of how these go on to the eyes. All right, so for this look, I started out with that dusty lavender in the top middle of the palette, and I'm applying this with my Sigma E25 brush, and I am using tape on the side of my eye today. I've kind of gotten back into using tape again because I feel like it just gives me a guide and lets me know how far out I should go and kind of that angle that I need to give lift to my eyes. So anyway, I thought that this shadow performed really well. I thought it had a really nice amount of pigment, but it wasn't over the top or difficult to blend, and I could just add a little bit more if I needed to. So I really enjoyed working with this shadow. And then next up, I took that really deep one on the bottom right-hand corner of the palette, and this is that satiny one, and I just took a smaller brush and applied this to the outer lash line and then blended it back towards the middle a little bit. And this just kind of helps to define the outer corner. And this one, I thought I did have to build it up quite a bit, and I thought it was just slightly patchy when I went to blend it, not so much when I first packed it on with the brush, but then when I went to blend it towards the middle, I thought it was patchy and I kept feeling like I had to apply a little bit more. And then for my lid, I picked up the Lavender shimmer in the bottom center of the palette and just packed this on my eye with my finger. And this one, like I said before, it's not something super metallic or foiled. It's a very, very subtle shimmery look, and because it's pressed hard into the pan, I did have to go back in and kind of pick up a little bit more, but I was able to build up the color to the result that I wanted, so it was easy enough to apply. I didn't really feel like I struggled with it that much. So here's the finished result. I think it's just a really, really simple eye look. I think the colors sort of run together a little bit. There isn't a ton of definition between them, but like I said in the beginning, the K-Beauty trend with eyes is really not to have that definition, but just to kind of have a really soft, sort of fuzzy look that's not really crisp. I think if you like a really natural, easy type of look, then you might enjoy them. So next up, let's check out the products from the Crystal Glow collection. So the first one is the Tinted Luminizer, and this product confused the heck out of me when I first saw it in store because I picked it up and it says Tinted Luminizer Stick, but it looks like a tinted foundation, and it comes in foundation type colors from fair all the way to deep. It looked like it would match versus like highlight. It just didn't look like they were all highlighters. So I'm like, is this a foundation? Is it a highlighter? What is it? So when I got home, I read the back of the box and it says Glass Skin Reinvented. This multitasking skin perfector enriched with crystallide instantly transforms the skin. It's a buildable, blendable, lightweight formula with a crystal-like translucent effect on the skin. So it says to put it on clean skin after moisturizer or primer, and you can use it alone all over the face or just in certain areas, or you can wear it under foundation for an illuminating effect. So it sort of made me think of like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, but just in stick form, where it's kind of a little tiny bit of coverage with that glow, and then you can put foundation over it or just wear it alone. And it's supposed to kind of give your skin that glazed glass skin look. So normally I'm not a fan of that because most of the glass skin products I've tried applied feel very sticky. And even though I do have dry skin and I really like to look a little bit more glowy and dewy, I don't like to feel sticky. So anyway, I got the shade Cream Ivory, and you saw the swatches already and what that looked like. And on the other side, it comes with a little buffing brush, which I find doesn't really help that well. It just kind of moves the product around your face. I'll show you me applying it, and I actually had the best luck just blending it in with my fingers, kind of patting it in a little bit. But even using my fingers, I still felt like it kind of sat on top of my skin. It never really sank in all the way. And while it did have some coverage to it, it was definitely minimal coverage. I think it sort of evened out my skin a little bit like a tinted moisturizer would, but it's not going to cover up anything too major. So technically, you could use this all over as a foundation if you wanted to, but I personally would not layer foundation on top of this. Today, I'm wearing it again, and to add a little bit more coverage, I decided to put some concealer on just in the areas where I needed it. And as I blended the concealer, this was sliding around all over underneath, and it just wasn't staying put. And also it started to kind of cake up and cling to dry patches on my nose, my chin. I'll actually show you guys what this looks like in natural lighting. I took this video yesterday so you can see kind of how it looks. This was with no concealer, it's just the stick itself. And even though I thought at first it gave my skin that glassy skin sort of look, it had a little glow to it, in natural light I didn't feel like it did. So I think in my studio lights it really kind of bounces off of this product, but in normal everyday light I didn't think that it actually looked that glowy. And on top of that, you can see it kind of clinging to dry spots on my nose and breaking up a little bit. So I really am not the hugest fan of this product. It's kind of, again, sort of confusing to me. And if I wanted a glow, I think I'd probably just prefer to use a glowy primer versus something like this, because the primers tend to just sink into your skin better and they don't feel greasy. And I think foundation applies so much better on top of them. I don't see myself wearing this alone either, just because it really doesn't have enough coverage for me. I usually like something lighter in coverage, but not quite this light. I need a little bit of something extra, and I also didn't like how it felt sticky. So personally, I wasn't really a big fan of this. And next up we have the Perfect Complexion BB Cream, and I got this one in the shade Vanilla, which is actually too dark for me. So when you see the swatches and you see me applying it, I know a lot of you guys are gonna say this looks orange on you. It definitely does. I would definitely go back and get another shade lighter than this for sure. So anyway, this is called the Perfect Complexion BB Cream. It's $8.99. And I'm not sure if it's actually replacing their Truly Yours BB cream. I didn't notice if they actually had it on the display at CVS, but I know they do have another one. And this claims to give flawless blurred skin for all, formulated with niacinamide to deliver a healthy, glowing look. It's available in 6 shades, and it claims to blur imperfections, even skin tone, refine the appearance of pores, and provide a matte finish, boosts skin's hydration, protects skin from pollution, and reduces free radicals, and that it's for all skin types. I agree with everything except that it has a matte finish. I really didn't find that to be the case. I thought it had a really skin-like satiny finish that was so beautiful. I really, really loved how natural this looked. It's kind of like an all-over-the-face version of their concealer that I love so much, just based on how natural it looks on your skin, and it really just looks very skin-like. So I'll show you guys the application, and I thought that the coverage on it was excellent too. Again, the color is totally wrong for me, so try to look past that, but I loved the little bit of subtle glow that this gave me, and it just made my skin look so healthy without being too glowy or too flat matte either. And also, I didn't find that it settled into pores. I didn't necessarily think it blurred my pores either, but it definitely did not enhance them. I thought it just looked very, very smooth on my skin overall. So I will show you guys quickly again in natural lighting what this looked like, and I didn't see this clinging to any dry patches. Again, it's not settling into fine lines. I just thought it was overall a really, really nice product. It reminds me a lot of the new Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. It's actually a very similar formula in terms of the satin finish and how much coverage it has. It had way more coverage than I was expecting out of a BB cream. So if you have the Wet n Wild one already, I feel like you already have something similar. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit more and maybe like put it head to head with the Wet n Wild, like one on one side, one on the other, and see how I feel about them once I try them at the same time. But just given what I remember about the Wet n Wild, this one seems like it's almost the same. I can't really see any benefit to buying this one over that one. I think the Wet n Wild one might even be a couple bucks cheaper. So I don't know. I'll have to let you guys know maybe at my month-end roundup what I think of this one after using it for a while, but right now I really enjoy it a lot. And then the last product I got was also from their Crystal Glow collection. It's the Jelly Bomb highlighter. And this one, I also thought the packaging was so beautiful. I mean, they've really upped their game as far as packaging goes, and they're making it look like so many of the big K-beauty brands. So if you take a look at what this packaging looks like, and then I'm gonna put up a picture of the Apu Juicy Pang Jelly Beam highlighter. They look so similar as far as packaging goes, and also just as far as the formula and what it's supposed to do. So let's take a close-up look at this one, and it looks like it has a golden color, and it actually has a very bouncy texture similar to the ColourPop highlighters, but I think the ColourPop ones are a little bit softer. This one is more firm in the pan. It's almost more like a putty type of a texture, and I was expecting the color to come out more golden, but when you actually go to swatch it, it really just looks like a trail of tiny little micro glitters. It doesn't give you any color to speak of, so I was a little bit disappointed in that because I'm not really a glitter person. I was hoping that it would just be like a really smooth highlight, and it's definitely not that. But if you are into like face and body type glitters and you love that really sparkly look, then you definitely would enjoy this one. So I'll show you guys just a quick clip of me applying it to my cheeks so that you can see what it looks like. And it does give a really pretty effect on camera, I feel like, but in real life, it just looks like I put glitter on my cheeks, basically. So again, you're not really getting color out of it. I would say the one positive thing is that it's not chunky or it's not scratchy. The formula itself feels incredibly smooth and very silky and almost like buttery feeling. But I just wish that it gave you more of a shine versus a sparkle. So anyway, guys, out of all the products I tested today, I would say I like the eyeshadow palettes and the BB cream the best. And the Crystal Glow collection was a little bit of a dud for me, both the Tinted Luminizer stick and also the Jelly Bomb highlighter. I think this one just really confused me, and I didn't like how it just slid around all over my face and it was hard to apply something on top of it. This one, I don't think it's a bad formula by any means. I think it's very similar to the ones that other K-beauty brands are putting out, but sparkle and glitter just really aren't my thing. I think if you like them, you will really enjoy this because I think it's a really unique and beautiful formula. And as far as the eyeshadow palettes go, again, I personally like these, but you may not if you are into more intense eyeshadows. And I think the BB cream is awesome too, but if you have the Wet n Wild one, right now I'm thinking this is very similar to it. So I will let you guys know again at the end of the month, once I've had a chance to play with all of this a bit more, if my thoughts have maybe changed a little bit. But for now, that is where I stand with these. So I would love to hear what you think down in the comments below, and if you've seen these in store, if you're planning on picking anything up or trying anything. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I always appreciate it so much. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you like makeup reviews, definitely hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.